Hello, welcome back to One to the Force, the Star Wars podcast. My name is Phil, of course, joined as usual by Dave and not absent George.
I made it.
He is here for once. Good evening, gentlemen. You ready to chat some Star Wars?
I am. To be fair, I only missed the solo one, but I was awake till at least 1:30. Like I was on Facebook with you guys.
Missed about 5 minutes.
I was starting to fade, and I started the memes, and then I just fell asleep, and I woke up the next morning. But yeah, I missed the solo trailer. Well, I didn't miss it. I watched it in the morning.
Well, you missed our solo trailer video. You missed the last 2 episodes. Come on, George.
Did I miss the last 2? No, I think I made one of the 2, and then I made the Rebels one. I think
you made the Rebels one, but you missed the last.
I've been very busy.
That's okay.
Busy.
We've got stuff to do.
I've come for the busiest episode, which will only make it longer.
This is going to be an episode and a half. I think it's going to be a long one. We've got a lot to go through. Just news-wise out there, obviously Solo's getting so close that everything is kind of falling into place for it. And I guess that starts with
the new trailer.
With the trailer, and
it's only less than 40 days now, and they've only just released the second trailer. It's fine. It's fine. But technically, this is the first trailer because they had the teaser trailer, and that's the actual trailer. But George, since you weren't here for our video, do you want to give your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's the same one word that I sent you guys in the morning, which was underwhelming. I have no expectations for this film, except the expectation of Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. That needs to be right. And I watched the trailer, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. It just looks like bog standard average, and I'm hoping it's a very pleasant surprise in the cinema. I want it to be good. It probably will be good, but so far the trailer's doing nothing to me, especially when it's like, we're putting together a team. I heard that in the Thor Ragnarok trailer. I've heard that in an Avengers trailer. That's in Rogue One. How many films are putting together teams these days? The Justice League.
Don't forget Ocean's 8.
Yeah, they kickstart it all. And they're rebooting it as well. So the trailer, it didn't do, I mean, I'm there on day one anyway, so really, this film just needs to try and convince me. It looks like it will be all right, I think. And there's some things which look great. There's some things which, I mean, this trailer I thought did a better viewing with Alden Ehrenreich than the first trailer did.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the dialogue and shots they picked in the first trailer was too. It was not awkward as such, but it was something you'd expect Harrison Ford solo to do.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're introducing us to someone new, they shouldn't have put any mannerisms in. They should have just had him being him, and this is what they've done in this trailer. So they've done him a bit more justice. It was nice to get a quick look at Paul Bettany, even though we got all the merch this week as well, with which we've got more of him. But it's an all right trailer. I think currently I'm in a ridiculous Avengers hype, and I'm still getting off the back of Last Jedi. So I think I kind of echoed the thoughts that it's still a bit too soon. One thing I was going to say on Sunday, but I did fall asleep, so I couldn't say. When the trailer came out for Last Jedi, it was April, the film due out in December, right? And then trailer 2 was October, the film out in December. Yeah. Now, if you have all of this, we've basically had the entire Last Jedi marketing push in half as much time. So we've had one trailer 1 month before, the other trailer was basically 4 months before, like whereas Last Jedi was 8 and 2. Yeah. So it's almost like they've halved the amount of everything. There's no 3-month Force Friday. It's this week. We will talk about that later on. But it's failing to. It's an unfair comparison to Avengers. But at the minute, Avengers is everywhere. All the news is Avengers. Everyone's excited for the Avengers. I will happily say I'm more excited for the Avengers than this.
It's Disney. It's Disney.
It's Disney's monopoly.
Yeah.
But I think releasing the riskiest. I mean, there's only 2 spin-off films so far, but risking the riskiest one they'll ever do, a month after maybe the biggest film ever made in history, by the same company, I think is ludicrous. I think this should have just been given the summer window. Then they can market it a bit better, do a bit more with it.
As we theorized the other day, they've put a trailer out now to go with in
Avengers. Yeah, they'll attach it just like the first Avengers trailer was attached to Last Jedi, vice versa. It's smart on Disney's behalf, but then say this film was out in the summer, like June, July, then you could still stick a trailer on with Avengers. But it's me just overthinking, being moody and miserable. I think the trailer's probably better than what I'm giving it credit for. Still nothing really wows me, but
I've seen a better reaction online because of the second trailer than I have after the first trailer.
Yeah, I know. I'd agree with that. I think this is definitely a better trailer, but also I think people have got over the first time seeing him now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
we actually, I said this to Dave when we did our video. The haters will be out there in force. We know that people are going to see this film just to hate on it and just to bag on it, and we all know that. We know that's going to be the case. And as with Rogue One, they knew it was going to be a risky move. This is, as you said, their riskiest move by far. And I don't know how to pay off yet. However, I have seen a much more positive reaction between friends of mine and other people online, and even on our page, to this second trailer than the first one that came out. A lot of people were very skeptical. Now it's a bit more hype. I mean, it's still something you can tell Disney are skeptical of it, but we'll see how it goes.
I mean, it is a strange one. You're right. It's come out so quickly after The Last Jedi, which was always the plan.
Yeah.
I think some of us, after the fallout of the directors leaving originally, thought it might get pushed towards the December mark and then have another film the year after, so we'd stick on the same sort of schedule. Yeah. So it still feels a little bit rushed that it's out. It's crazy that it's out in as many days as it is. I'm sure tickets will be available soon and coming out, and I don't think you'll see the rush for the tickets that you've seen with the other films that we've had.
I don't believe so, no.
There will be midnight showings, and people will obviously be there, but I don't think you'll have that rush for tickets at all for this one. It's going to be a strange experience. I really liked the second trailer. It actually spoke a lot more to me than the first trailer did. You're right, Alden. He had a bit more swagger in this, and it came across not. Like I said to Phil when we did our actual video, and that's online if you want to check that out. It's like it's reading a comic book and he's been drawn by a different artist.
Yeah.
And it's that character, but not the way we quite remember him. Donald Glover is going to be the absolute standout of this movie. I've got no doubt about it. He will be the one that people will come out talking about, I think, more. Apart from Chewie with his goggles and the holiday special being canon with his wife back.
Indeed. I mean, the other thing, as I said, for me was I don't quite like the voice of L337. The voice doesn't quite match up.
She sounds exactly like Gwendolyn Christie as Captain Phasma.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
it's really been bugging on my mind because it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, yeah.
That's what, I know it's a 3-barrel, but she's been quite successful with her comedies and stuff. But I literally heard that and I was like, oh, I didn't expect it to sound like Gwendolyn Christie. But I'm intrigued. But Donald Glover stole it. It was great to hear him talk, and I want to put what Chris James put in the comments. Everyone who is precious has let go of their comment. Not my Hannah Little. It will still open big, but not Force Awakens big.
Nothing will match Force Awakens big for Star Wars purely.
Yeah, it was the first one in 10 years. It was the sequel. It was the prequel, and it was all of it. Force Awakens will never be done. This, without getting box office figures and being too down. This is going to be like the average of average, like a typical blockbuster. Not even has the Star Wars effect. This will open with like between 70 and
70 to 90. It'll probably gross 3 to 500.
Oh no, we'll get past that. It'll be between sort of 500 and 700 worldwide. But
I don't quite think it will break the 700, but
it'll be past. You know, I mean, if some films can make, if you look at some films that make 400, but this will. The numbers will be fine, but you wouldn't think of it as Star Wars numbers. I mean, I think I tend to forget how great Rogue One was. Well, I don't forget. I know it's great, but its box office success 1.1 bill. That made like 40 mil less than Civil War.
Yeah.
And when you really think about that comparison, and I think that's down to Rogue One being the first spin-off, having everything going right for it in terms of marketing, reviews, and whatnot. Whereas this had a very different story leading into it.
And Rogue One was an incredible film, so it's. Solo has got a lot to live up to, but at the same time, it doesn't. Though. Because of everything that happened, because of the new actors involved, it will be given a little bit of leeway by the fans. I think that will help it a little bit.
I hope so.
However, continuing on the Solo thing, we might as well move on to the next bit on the poster. Because that was also released along with the trailer on Sunday night.
Yeah, the poster is amazing. It looks stunning. I'm going to probably go to the UK premiere to get autographs, and it's got the perfect colours to get signed.
No blacks in there, so your pen will work fine.
I liked the westerny character posters they did. However, I did not want that as my main theatrical poster, and I knew it wouldn't be. And they actually just did something. I mean, they took the images, which look great. I think everyone liked the cartoon artist type thing. It's got the Western feel. Yeah. I like the impact of that, but having the image of the Falcon cockpit, I thought was a really nice touch.
It's a lovely, lovely poster. It came out and it was sort of just after we watched the trailer, and it is a striking poster. And it is something that you kind of look and go, that would look awesome on a wall.
I prefer it to the Rogue One poster we got. Not the one we were given, but the one that actually came out officially.
The official one, it was like Vader's head had merged into the Death Star, and it was like, let's clog everyone in.
It was cool, but I love this one. I think it's a really cool looking poster.
This feels more, what's the word? If you look at most film posters nowadays, obviously they're all on Photoshop, but they just tend to get a bunch of the characters. They put the two leads, the biggest heads to the top corner, and then they just fill in with supporting cast.
There's a formula.
Yeah, there's a modern formula, and it's nice to see Han Solo break that formula slightly.
As you were saying there, they are Photoshop, but this one feels more like not a Photoshop, more of an artistic look at it. I mean, we've been used to the lovely painted posters we've had over the years for the main films, but this is still a lovely, lovely change.
Definitely.
And then we also had the announcement of the premiere, which was a bit strange to the location. George, you were the one who brought this to our attention, so I'll let you kind of go.
Yeah, so if anyone knows what Cannes Film Festival is, the most, well, it's in Cannes. It's one of the kind of more lavish, expensive places in the world. They're a very famous festival for booing a lot of major films that come out. The crowd are famous for booing or cheering. It's one or the other. It's never in the middle. And they just went and announced that Solo's going to premiere there 10 days before its normal release date. They used a really sweet image of Chewbacca in a bow tie. And I think I was shocked purely because I may be wrong. I think one of the prequel films was shown at Cannes because it's always at mid-May.
Attack of the Clones, if I'm correct.
I can imagine that getting booed by that audience.
Well, yeah.
I still boo that now. Just in my house.
I just don't understand. I do understand it. It's a smart way because if you get a good reception at Cannes, that's really going to help you with your press and whatnot heading into the next couple of days. It's very odd at the same time. It's not odd the fact that Star Wars is there. It's the fact that blockbuster films are rarely shown at Cannes. Mad Max Fury Road was the last blockbuster to debut at Cannes. That was 3 years ago now. So it doesn't happen often. But they're hardly going to turn down Lucasfilm because now Cannes will get more press than it's probably had in a year.
You're right. It's not the place you would expect this to be shown out first. But then I guess if they want it out there, the media are all going to be there. And you're right, if it goes well.
So it's Revenge of the Sith that was also. No, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. I was right with one of them, but also Revenge of the Sith was in there.
If it plays well and that gets out there and it'll be out with all the press, that then leads into probably a much a healthier box office, maybe, if the word gets out this is an actual good movie, go see this. You're right, if the Cannes audience turn against this movie, the critics don't like this movie, then it's a strange way for it to come out. They really should have waited. I think the premiere should have been the day before it came out we get it on the 24th, so probably again have the UK premiere, get the film out there. It seems it's quite a bit of space between the two, so I think it could go flip of a coin. It could go really either way.
Yeah. It's a bold move.
Yeah, it's not something a lot of people do. But if they pay off, then they are getting everything and more from Cannes. So it's really worth them going for the shot, I think.
Yeah.
And then
they might as well give it some boost if it works. It works. It doesn't.
I mean, let's be honest. If Episode 8 was in May, you could have imagined Episode 8 being debuting there, especially with the more independent feeling and whatnot. It's just it helps that the May release date they're able to debut at Cannes. And in all honesty, people are, it's 10 days before. Well, there's nothing really to spoil. We know who lives. The protagonist ain't going to come out hurt. The only one that I can think can go right now is Chewbacca's wife.
This will make this holiday special canon, and that happens after New Hope.
Maybe that was why he
if you
filmed all the Christmas
the Aftermath trilogy, you'll find out how the holiday special cannot be canon, so it's fine.
Life Day will always be canon.
Yeah, no. You miss it. I'm old enough to remember a period before the prequels, but I'm not that old, and I will never be. I will never like the holiday special. However, we're not here to discuss the holiday special. Never on this channel. Not unless it's a Friday the 13th video or something like that. However, we might as well move on to the next bit, which was something that was very strange, but something that ended up being very cool. Was the fact that some of the characters from Solo had their names revealed by Denny's. Now, if you don't know what Denny's is, it's a fast food chain in America. However, it came up with one of the best names ever for a Star Wars character, being from Scissor Punch, which is by far one of the best names I've ever heard.
When everyone saw that, it was the kind of that. This film's already got a kind of a very weird reputation, and having the same of a character, Scissor Punch, was just like the icing on the cake. I think that it's just bizarre, and you can tell this is something that Phil Lord and Chris Miller definitely gave the name of. I mean, they did a film called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
It's a great film, actually.
But yeah, it was. As part of this, they've done a special Star Wars menu. You can buy your Star Wars flavored breakfasts and whatnot over in America. I think there's like a double egg.
Green milk, maybe.
I don't think they're that extreme. Maybe for toddlers. Basically,
the wall display that you have to get that from as well is awful.
Poor children. And then Mark Hamill's like watching in the corner and just laughing at everyone. But basically, this place, when you buy the food, they give you an option to buy some trading cards. And it's like $3. All the profits go to charity about feeding hungry kids. I guess that's the charities that would make sense in America as well, given they do spend a lot of money on fast food, so they'll be a lot beneficial. Star Wars fans are all going out in their numbers to buy these and sell them too. And basically, there's 12 cards to collect. It's unveiled I want to say the main names, but I'm sure there's other people. But you've got the main crew who we all knew about, and obviously now they've announced the pops and the merchandise. We know a lot more. But it was a kind of it's a smart way of doing charity work, but also getting the Star Wars collectors out and about. I'm sure Denny's has probably had the busiest week they've ever had.
Plus the actual trailer that they brought out for Denny's, where they have the kids playing Han Solo and Lando. If you've seen it online, it's set in the same, looks like the same bar scene. Probably an intergalactic Denny's somewhere that they're going to be in. But it's a really cool little scene, a little kid playing Lando and Han. It's quite a cool little advert. But I mean, tie-ins to Star Wars, and they will always be this episode 1 when it was on everything. You couldn't look anywhere else without seeing merchandise stamped with Jar Jar Binks' face. But yeah, so it's a good tie-in. These cards are cool that have been released, and there's some really nice images, especially I think the troopers on there, the Mud Trooper on there.
Trooper,
yeah. So they look awesome. I'm loving the troopers are one of my main character things I've really enjoyed seeing out of this. That's coming out of here. The variation between where we were at episode 3 and before A New Hope. I really like that era. We're getting a lot of
the
new troopers.
Trooper especially. The Minbam Trooper especially looks like a cross between a clone trooper and a stormtrooper. It really is that forefront of becoming 4, 5, and 6. So it really is getting there.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't know if you guys lost me then.
No, you're still there, sir.
Yeah, so it's nice, but with the cards, I think the timing's. Well, we're going to get to the merch now, but one thing I've got not an issue with as such. When Force Friday happened last year and the other years, everything's been on lockdown until the day of release. And Lucasfilm have outright come out this week. We have some promo art which we put on our channel, get unveiled, which is actually a part of the merchandise. It's the canvases and stuff. All of the Han Solo merch we thought was coming out April 20th. Disney dropped an announcement on Monday. Funko basically accidentally spoiled it last week, saying that watch out on Monday, and they unveiled all the merchandise for the film.
Yeah.
And the issue with this is that a load of it's coming out this Friday the 13th, and a load of it's coming out next Friday the 20th. It's not very clear, but these release dates have already been broken. So the Star Wars Vintage Collection Wave 1 was meant to come out this Friday. However, I have the entire case in my hands right now. And I think Disney just have not given up, but they don't really care about breaking the.
If it's not to do with the main saga, they don't really mind too much.
Yeah, I mean, all the Han Solo figures got distributed today. Some people have got the Darth Vader Black Series helmet. All the merch is out. I'd say go on StarWars.com. You'll see everything: Black Series figures, 3.75 figures, pops, lights, clocks, all Monopoly, all the usual stuff.
The new digital print though on the Black Series figures really is just phenomenal. They have stepped up another level.
Oh, it's insane, the quality of the sculpts or the paints. I don't know what they've changed on there, but however they get the faces on there now is incredible.
The digital painting, whatever they've done to do this new style of painting is just,
we've mentioned before, but the Black Series Donald Glover figure, Lando figure looks, it's literally a spitting double of the man. It's great. But I mean, there's so much merchandise that's come out. We put a post on our Facebook page, which I just want to say a massive thank you that we've had a massive boost in people who are on there. People are starting to have likes and leaving comments on there now, so that is awesome. We're getting a few more subscriptions on our YouTube page as well, so thank you so much for anyone who's joining us on this little adventure we're having. But yeah, so the merchandise, it's on our website as well, but it does link you also to the StarWars.com page where they've got everything, bed sheets, like George was saying. It's, if you think of something that could have the Star Wars name on it, it's on there. So really go and have a look at all the figures, the 3 3/4 inch, the Jack Specific big figs are all on there. So yeah, there's some really good looks at what's coming, and there's a lot of it. Whether it gets
more of some of it in depth in Toy Shelf coming up later, but yeah, go check out our Facebook page again. As Dave said, thank you so much for the new likes and comments and stuff. It really helps us, and it's really cool to see. We love interacting with you guys. But yes, so we'll get onto the World Toys later. Speaking of Donald Glover, though, he's revealed a new Lando behind-the-scenes image, which was almost as exciting as the trailer. It's just, yeah, I can't wait.
He put it on his Instagram again. I mean, could you imagine a main cast Star Wars character just tweeting a behind-the-scenes image? It's just him on the Falcon in costume with the really nice silhouette filter. It looks like a sort of Ryan Johnson picture with a black and white camera. But this was just before the trailer came out. This was almost the trailer's come. I mean, one thing I didn't really say about the trailer is I've got no idea why it was on this week. I mean, I know with the Super Bowl, it's official for it to come with trailers and whatnot. It was WrestleMania on Sunday. Now, this is the first WrestleMania I've watched in 6 years. But there are no adverts, there's no nothing. But in America, WrestleMania is the third biggest event of the year now in terms of the Forbes estate financially, the audience, all of these demographics put together. WrestleMania is the third biggest event behind Super Bowl and the FIFA World Cup final. And they just dropped this halfway through the show, knowing that most people won't tune in to watch this trailer. And when I went on Twitter in the morning, everything was WrestleMania, not Star Wars. For the life of me, had it been any other day this week, they would have had the headlines for a whole day. But on my social media, there's been absolutely nothing. And I just thought it was a very bizarre release date, especially when, okay, we knew the Last Jedi trailer was coming because Mark Hamill tweeted it, but we knew it was coming. This we knew would come eventually, but it literally just happened at a click of a fingers that they announced it at 1 a.m. on the Sunday, technically the Sunday morning, to come out at 2 a.m. on the Monday morning over here in England.
I think it was just shy of 24 hours for the notice period that they gave, and then they put out with American Idol, which is I believe it's a CBS show as well, so it's Disney. Is it Disney?
It will always be a Disney channel.
Yeah, right? So it went out with that, but again, you're right. The audience figures for Pop Idol. There we go, American Idol, and then you see like WrestleMania was on at the same time. I guess they went with that because it's a Disney affiliated channel, but you're right. I don't think it was there. And there wasn't. You're right. At the moment it came out, when Phil and I were online, there was quite a lot of chatter. But by the next morning, I went on again. It had dropped off massively. We had to actually go searching if you want to see what people thought of it, which is not what I expect on Twitter for a Star Wars.
Yeah, I just thought it was.
Indeed, I mean, it was an odd time to release it, but I think again they're trying to play it a little safe there, maybe, but we'll see on that one. Again, after that, no. So we now move on to Jon Favreau, and he has revealed his solo character now called Rio Durant. I haven't seen an image. I don't know if there's been an image released online at all.
He looks like Ratatouille. There's some merchandise of him in a Hot Wheels car. You'd recognize him from one of the
first trailer.
Yeah, it's like a sort of mouse thing that looks like it's piloting a ship. I love Jon Favreau and everything he's ever done. He didn't make it to the UFC after all, like we all thought he would in Friends. He did go on to become a very famous director. but not the UFC champion. And yeah, I mean, I still like the fact that he announced he was in this character before he got announced as the Star Wars guy. He obviously went in for the usual Star Wars talks and just took his cameo option really early. Because I mean, it's amazing if they get to work in the film, they get to cameo in one other film.
Pretty much, yeah.
It is one of those things like, here is your job. Now, where would you like your cameo to be?
I love him. I rewatched Jungle Book last week, and I just forgot how great a director he is, and I can't wait. And I was rewatching Iron Man again. This guy working on Star Wars, I think, is going to be absolutely fantastic for, without doubt.
I can't wait for his TV show. I mean, it'll be
the biggest risk. If we think Solo's the biggest risk right now because they've took an established character and made a spin-off film that no one wanted to see about him, wait till they come out and say we're doing a TV series that is going to be on an app specifically for Disney that's not Netflix, and this is live action. And I assume this one will be set in the main timeline. I think it'd be very risky not, but it could be. But
I reckon it'll be set between either
3
and 4, or you're talking between 6 and 7.
Yes, I always say 7 and 8. I never say 6 and 7. I've never known why. Even like 2 years ago, I kept saying, "Oh, yeah, between 7 and 8."
Yeah, there is literally no time between 7 and 8. That's covered in 8.
7 and 8 is the gap between 8 and 9.
The gap between 7 and 8 is the gap that allows.
It's like a day. It's like 2 days.
Yeah.
But
it's about 15 to 16 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That should get out, go to the toilet, grab something to eat, come back. It's fine. That's
it's like we evacuated the base. We've gone straight over to your other. They've all waved goodbye and cheerio to Raid, and they've all ran into their ships and just flown.
Literally.
Yeah. It's fine. Bye bye. Right, we need to head off now.
Like they were so happy. Wouldn't it have been amazing if they'd have been waving bye at Raid, then the Dreadnought appeared?
Oh, yeah, that would have been amazing.
Could you have pictured the waves like, oh no.
Quick to the ship. Oh, I mean, excellent. There is a fan edit waiting to be done out there.
There is. So speaking of episode 8, George, I'll let you have your rant.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't live in America, The Last Jedi has come out on Blu-ray this week. I have, of course, 2 copies that shall remain unopened. And they're just the bog standard Blu-rays. Like, if you can see behind me, oh no, you can't see because the cereal box covers it up. That's the Ready Player One cereal, by the way. I wouldn't normally have a cereal box line there. When episode 7 came out, I got the steelbooks. I like my steelbooks, and I also bought the light side, dark side sleeve. Left them unopened. Now you can't get them. The only one you can get is that really weird hand of the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Anyway, I pre-ordered my steelbook from Zavi literally like at 6 a.m. after I come out of the IMAX. Pre-ordered it, and I thought, I might get it early like I have done with all the other steelbooks. They billed me last Thursday, and I thought, here we go, boys. I think I messaged you guys because they billed me today. And then it's now Wednesday, and I don't have it.
Sending the screenshot.
You sent me your screenshot, and I was like, oh, they've billed me, and mine just says.
I walked out the IMAX and just.
You did it and then there was no dispatch email. And then I contacted them on Friday saying, hey, guys, is this going to dispatch today? Because it takes 2 working days, right? And their customer services, Zavi, the online company, who for some reason are the only distributor of Disney Steelbooks. That includes Disney Animated, Marvel, and Star Wars. And they also priced them £7 more than H&V, which is pretty vile. And they just did the usual. I'm really restraining myself from swearing, which is why my volume's going up. I'm a very good boy now. I got caught out too many times before, but their customer service is an absolute waste of time. And they wouldn't send it. They kept sending me nonsense replies and whatnot. And basically, yes, I've got these 2 copies here that shall remain unopened. They always say, we do it so you'll get your film by or on the release date. And literally one message, I said, but the release date's tomorrow, and you haven't sent it. Can you give me next day's service? They said no. And I said, so in the space of 2 messages, you've gone from saying you'll get it on release date to we'll dispatch it on release date. Anyway, just don't use Avi. They're a terrible company. And the worst thing is this isn't me being some mad fanboy that's angry. Of course, it's also that. They've done this to almost a lot of people. Normally with Zavi, I've got them on Twitter. They'll always retweet when people get the steelbooks, and it's always a Monday, and you'll just have Twitter full of them for a couple of hours.
Yep.
There was maybe 4 images on my Twitter timeline on Monday. Every single reply was just everyone getting mad that they'd build them on the Thursday, the same as me, no emails. They said to me, we bill everyone to dispatch. I said, but you billed me and you haven't dispatched it. You can't actually bill me. Every other company bills you the minute it dispatches.
Yeah.
They clearly billed everybody on Thursday that had a Star Wars pre-order, didn't have the stock in. So they've just done it for the money.
And George, do you have your Steelbook yet?
No, I said that. I don't. I've got these two, but I can't open them because they're unopenable.
I got mine on Monday.
You got yours. This is the thing. You got yours on Monday. Yours dispatched on what, Thursday?
No, Friday.
Oh, dispatched on Friday.
I
and yours
had an issue as well because my payment bounced because in between when I ordered it and then I had a new card come through, so I needed to put all the new details in. I couldn't change it until they were to bill me. So they billed me. It bounced. I hadn't had to correct it, and I still got mine on Monday.
And this is the other thing with Avi, right? When years ago, I used to get loads of Steelbooks. My cards, like I had a new card. They deleted all of my pre-orders because you can't. In the modern 21st century, you can't amend an order. Which
annoyed me because I had to wait until they literally billed me to change mine.
And I didn't. I mean, I've just seen a comment saying they I always forget his name. Robin's got his Steelbook that came on Monday. Dave got his. Not Dave. Phil got his. Well, one of my friends got mine. Only 3 people that's got the Steelbooks. Everyone else is waiting still. And if yours was dispatched.
No, I just got the digital download.
Oh, boo! You're destroying your industry.
I know.
At least you got it like 3 weeks ago then.
I've got it. It's lovely. But yeah, I'm very much at the moment I'm very much everything's just digital for myself.
You've really ruined the mood.
sorry, dude. But I will be getting the Steelbook as soon as it's available.
They might they might send my one to yours for you.
I'll probably get it before. I'll order it now and get it before you get yours. Yeah.
But like, what I don't get is Phil's dispatched on Friday, and his came on Monday. That's 2 working days. Mine dispatched on Monday morning, and it's still Wednesday, and there's nothing. And I just don't have a clue, and it's annoying me because I've got my 4K setup. I didn't just buy it for Star Wars, but I'm not going to sit there and watch this downstairs. I want to. With stuff like 4K and whatnot, without getting into like a tech podcast mode, when it's a film and something so well in your head, you can notice the individual changes, the changes of graphics. So when George Lucas dropped his Blu-rays for episode 1-6, I was noticing droids in the background that were never there before, and it was these little changes that a lot of people wouldn't notice, and that's why I'm looking for this in 4K to really see this is the film that is going to make all the difference to me. Obviously, Dunkirk was the demo, but that was always IMAX. This I just need to see. And I've had a very busy week. I knew today was going to be one of the busiest days of the week. I've had good slots this week to watch it. And now Xavi have stole that from me. All because of my cowardice, I won't open these other two. But don't use Xavi unless you're getting the Marvel Steelbooks, because they're also the only place you can get them. Actually, that's a lie. Because of Spider-Man Homecoming, this is actually what I was going to say earlier. So Spider-Man Homecoming is both Sony and Disney because of the whole agreement. Yeah. HMV have a deal for Sony Steelbooks. Xavi have the deal for Disney Steelbooks.
So you get both, yeah.
Yeah, so HMV had to release their own Steelbook for Spider-Man Homecoming. They did a 4K one for 25 quid. Xavi did the Spider-Man Homecoming 2D Blu-ray, and it was 23. And yet the Xavi 4K Steelbooks are 33 quid. So they just put £8 on, whereas HMV do it the same price because they know they don't need to do anything else. It's a very weird industry, but the long story short is The Last Jedi is out now. Buy it, that documentary I've been waiting 3 weeks to watch. You go watch that, not me.
It is stunning. I have seen it. I've also seen all the deleted scenes and everything else, so I want to talk to you about that, but I can't. But Dave, if you've got the full downloads, and now you've got the deleted scenes and everything, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I've got everything. The only thing I haven't actually watched yet is the commentary.
I haven't
gone through everything else, but I've got to kind of get some time for that. But other than that, yeah, I've gone right through, so I've seen everything, which is it's great. George, you will enjoy it.
I must admit, I was a little underwhelmed by the deleted scenes. I reckon, like 7 and Rogue One, they're holding them back for a big old box set.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, without doubt at all. There's a massive amount of stuff that we will not see until.
And I also wonder if, like
finished.
we had with 7, they'll do a collector's edition later in the year, which means I have to go out and spend another 30 quid to get the collector's edition again. But
take my money, as all Star Wars does, but that's good. I enjoy that, kind of.
I don't drink, I don't smoke. It's fine. I just do Star Wars. It's okay. But yes, so speaking of the saga, John Boyega has come out to say that Finn and Rey will reunite in episode 9. Like,
and everyone was shocked.
Everyone was shocked. Like, we didn't know that was going to happen.
I laughed at this because he was at that Comic Con where he charged £500 for his autograph and picture. And he just said, yeah, me and Ray are going to reunite. I was like, well, you kind of did that in episode 8 when you had that weird smudged hug. But, I mean, it's no news, but it's funny news because it's clickbait news. But we're just going to tell you for free. Because, and I just thought it was funny. Like, imagine having to answer that question. Like,
will you and Ray see each other in episode 9? Yes. Oh, get the story out, quick.
We see each other at the end of 7, it's fine. End of 8, sorry, it's fine.
I just thought it was amazing. I mean, imagine being in that hall, like, you've got your chance to ask John Boyega one question, and you ask, are you going to be with the Daisy Ridley on screen? Like, imagine if he says no.
No, not at all, no.
No, I'm not going to be in with the other lead, she's going to have Poe.
That's going to be some fan shipping going on there. That's all that is. But at least we now get to exclusively announce here that 2 main characters in the film will see each other in the
2 of the main 3 leads.
Exactly.
And you know what? I'm going to add an exclusive. They will also be in scenes with Oscar Isaacs. That's an exclusive right here.
Let's hope so.
If he's not, that was really bad if it comes back on me now. Damn it.
However,
Take it back.
We might as well go back to 8, and the fact that Simon Pegg, or 7 even, has come out also saying that J.J. Abrams had different plans for Rey's parentage, which is similar to what John Williams said, which also... when you watch the deleted behind the scenes for 8, he explains why he did what he did. By saying how it was his I am your father moment for 8, except he flipped on his head by going, no, you're no one. Which personally I love, and it does also then add credence to the fact that this isn't just a Kylo Ren messing you up. This is literally how it's going to be until JJ fixes it in 9, but we shall see. I mean, he does have lineage, it does have the opportunity to amend it to how he wanted it, but it doesn't surprise me that he had different plans originally.
Well, we got, like you said, John Williams hinted at this as well, and so we first get one from John Williams, like, all right, well, maybe something's been said. Now we've got 2 sources saying exactly the same thing. You've got to think now there's a lot of credence behind that story. And of course, JJ had his own ideas of how the saga, the trilogy would go for the next 2 films. Obviously, in comes Rian Johnson with his own ideas. He got to write his script as he wanted to. And yes, it turned probably a lot of things on its head that JJ has had to go in and then write around for the final movie. Won't be the final movie. But so yeah, it's going to be a strange one to see what he goes in and keeps from Rian's film and what he then not goes out to change, but to kind of get an alternate view on what's been said.
Twist it to his desire, yeah.
I mean,
point of view.
JJ loved episode 8. He said that in interviews and stuff, and he loved. The famous report is that JJ apparently this is like a year ago. JJ read a scene and was so shocked. Apparently he was shaking with shock, or some, that kind of headline.
Yeah,
it was clearly Snoke's death, or it was clearly Rey's parents, but he apparently he loved it and he was excited. And at the time, obviously, he wasn't doing episode 9, was he?
Yeah. No.
And I think now they've got into this position where he has probably more of a free schedule than Rian Johnson, because JJ can pick what year he wants this to be set, first of all. Johnson's had to be directly after.
Yeah.
And JJ's got the chance now to do some stuff. He can change. He's in a win-win situation. He changes the parentage, and it works whatever's best, and Kylo Ren lied. Or he doesn't change the parentage, and the ballsy risk that Rey is nobody also pays off.
Yeah.
So he's in a very unique position. And at the end of the day, he's the guy that started this trilogy plan with Kathleen Kennedy. So
he was also executive producing on 8 as well. So he would have had some fingers in pie somewhere to influence it somehow.
It would have been more of like he said something in the boardroom when they pitched 7. Like the executive producer credit is like, But I'm excited to see what he does. And I think this is...
Chris James has pointed out below, it's quite easy for JJ to turn the parentage back again. We agree, it's something that he can work with, but also it's left for him not to work with, which is a really good open way for us as fans to now discuss it over the next year and a half.
Yeah, he's got a year and a half, and then if he gets it wrong, then he's going to have...
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. We we all met at a very convenient time for Star Wars. The 7 had come out, Rogue One we saw the exclusive trailer for, that still hasn't been released anywhere else, which I think is really cool. And we now get to discuss this full bore for the next God knows how many years, looking at TV shows and films, games, the rest of it. I mean, we've done 50, this is episode 56 in just over a year. And we get to now speculate over this next year and a half what he will then do with it. And I'm quite happy, I'm quite looking forward to doing that.
It's gonna feel like a long trek, but it'll fly around before we know it. We'll be getting ready to see.
I was shocked when I looked on there. We've done 50. This is 56 episodes.
It's crazy how quickly this has gone around. Yeah, the fact we're still doing this is awesome. We're starting to get. It's getting nice, getting a little bit of a momentum behind us now as well.
We have like eras within the podcast as well, which is when you know you've been around.
Yeah, it really is.
The one I think of is the pop era, it's like from July to December 2017.
Yes, the pop era.
Do you know what I mean? It's crazy, and now we're in this we're at the post 8 but pre Han Solo era, and you can tell it with our artwork. If anyone hasn't done it, if you look at the artwork from episode 1, scroll down, you have the same Star Wars artwork. Then you get a couple of weeks of Rebels, then it reverts back to normal, then it drops to Last Jedi, then it goes to Rebels, then it goes to Han Solo.
Then it was Last Jedi.
Sorry?
It was Celebration. Then it was Last
Jedi.
Jedi.
Of course it was. Well, they were more specials, though, weren't they?
Yeah.
But literally looking at the thumbnails, you can tell like this era's within it, and you know the timing immediately by looking at it. And in a year's time, there might be a new logo promoting a new animated series or some Disney version of Netflix's live-action show, or maybe we'll actually get rid of Harrison Ford and put Old Nenreich in because he's better Han Solo.
Oh my word!
Could you imagine the reality where that actually happens?
Cried out in pain, and then it was silent.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I'm joking, but you all know that the next logo is just going to be 8 pictures of Krennic.
Yes.
The Krennic spin-off movie will be awesome.
What I recommend Bloodline, because you could call it Krennic's Rise to Power, one of the best dramas I've seen in years.
But also, I mean, well, I will say if you do check out our logos, the logo we currently have, the solo version of the ones with the Force, is by far my favorite. It fits so well.
Except thanks to one of our viewers out there, John, pointing out what an acronym now stands for. Like, thank you, John. We did not realise that until you posted that.
WTF. But yeah, we'll move on quickly from that, I think.
Yes, this is a family-friendly show. To be fair, we might as well move on from us not realising something to us now knowing something that we didn't really want to know, that Tony Gilroy has opened up about his Rogue One reshoot and has revealed himself to be very bitter.
I'm happy you said just that word.
Yeah, I'm not going to leave the last one you put on there. It's fine.
So I was at the Arsenal game last week and I was there too early. I was checking the news and it's like Tony Gilroy has finally spoke about the Rogue One reshoots, and when it's stuff like this, I love behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
and I wanted to see, normally they're like, well, I mean, it's what Ben Mendelsohn came out and said, we're a completely different film. I got killed by Darth Vader for a start. He was pretty open about what he said. And there's been cagey people and thought, this is the guy that so-called handled these reshoots. And I've never seen a more arrogant, bitter person in my life. I didn't even want to read his quotes, but it was basically, Rogue One's rubbish. I hate Star Wars. I saved Star Wars. I made Rogue One good. You could take off the word Tony Gilroy, put Donald Trump, and it would sound like something he would say. It was literally like, this is absolute rubbish without me. I'm the reason for all of this being. It was very bizarre because this is a guy respected within the industry. It's clearly broken a couple of NDAs. It's not, and he come out and said, no, I would never work on a Star Wars film again. So he's obviously saying it's trying to bait Disney, and it's quite just embarrassing, but also rather unfair, I think. I
read it with great interest when George put up the link, so I was in it and like, all right, I'll read this. Again, behind the scenes stuff I'm really interested in. So you get into it, and you're right, it came across really badly on his behalf. It didn't come out well the way he went. Like, it was a terrible film before I got there. They were in real trouble. And you changed the ending. You shot some of the Vader stuff. I think he brought in that idea of Vader being in the end. As far as I'm aware, he brought that side of it in, and that they all died. I don't know if that was his idea, but he claimed a lot of stuff was all him, and I can't for the life of me believe that he had
that much influence. No.
On a reshoot schedule, we know there was big reshoots. It was everywhere at the time that there was big reshoots, but I just can't see how he had made that much of a different movie from the heist movie we got.
And the other thing is, they famously said the reshoots were to address the tone and change the ending. It wasn't to change the entire film.
Yeah,
which is why it's still very much a Gareth Edwards film.
My biggest issue, and that's also why they left Gareth Edwards as the director credit, and he was also a part of all of the marketing push because it was his work. My biggest issue with this is, could you imagine Ron Howard coming out tomorrow morning and saying Han Solo was utter beep before I took over?
Absolutely not.
I've saved it, and that's he'd never say that purely because he's actually respected Blake, but you shouldn't expect it within the industry. But also, maybe Rogue One was a mess. You didn't have to come out and say that kind of stuff anyway. And Rogue One's proven to be a massive hit and likable. Fans love it, critics loved it, the box office loved it. It's the trio. Yeah. And I just thought it was... It's almost like he wanted to get in the news. I mean, who is talking about Rogue One in... That sounds really bad, but it's not a Rogue One news era. We're in like the... people want backstory. They want the Han Solo gossip, not the Rogue One gossip.
Even if it was this mess of a movie when he got there, you know what? Just stay classy. Know that you put the work in to make that film what it was. Why there was? I don't see any reason. And yes, he was on. I think he was on did an interview for a magazine or it was a podcast, something where he was asked about it. But he just had to stay a bit classy and say, "Yeah, I worked on it. There were some things I put in the film. Some of my ideas are in there. That's why I've got a writing credit on there." Which, by the way, when he claimed his writing credit, he was like, "We went to a tribunal and I got my writing credit put in there. They had no dispute about it." Just, I'm sorry, but dick move.
Yeah. It really is. There's another word for it, and we'll leave it at that because it's it's very classless and very not Star Wars.
Anyway. And one thing, sorry, just before we do it, I'm really glad that Gareth Edwards hasn't come out and like being, oh well, this what he said is that, and I did this and this, because I think it could have become something like that, and it just didn't need. I think Gareth Edwards has proved himself way more classy than Tony Gilroy has. In my estimation, Gilroy has gone way down in my estimation on this. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, it's just sad to see news like that. I did not like it at all. I mean, everyone spoke to us the exact same thing. If there were dramas, there were dramas, but it's at the end of the day, it's too. I mean, the film came out in 2016. This would have been the reshoots. What, like July, August, 2016 time? It was almost 2 years ago. And if the film had been rubbish,
because both of them had finished both 8 and Rogue One had finished by the time we were at
Celebration. It's a sad headline, and he's got himself into some news, but I don't think Star Wars have been a rush to get back to him rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a bit butthurt that he didn't get chosen to pick up 9.
Give me the dinosaur man over him.
Wow.
Very much, bro. However, we might as well move on to the new Pozu sneaker. I'll let you talk about that, George, because I think you own one of these.
I have a pair of Pozu sneakers, the Black Resistance ones, the ones that are the least obvious of being Star Wars. I'm very particular with the shoes. And they've announced a Han Solo pair of shoes, and you must think, oh no, they haven't put his face over like 20 pairs of shoes, have they? What they're doing, they've got a simple black shoe, and they've got the Corellian red stripe that he has on his trousers that goes on the back of the heel. So it's quite simple, but it looks like something Solo. It is kind of cool, and they're available to buy. I think pre-order now / dispatching around May the 4th time, and obviously that's timing in with the Han Solo film, of course. And they're about £60, but the shoes look quite nice. I've only got one pair. That's all I need, so I wouldn't be buying any more. But it's worth having a look at those.
Indeed. I mean, I had a look at them at Con last year. They had a Pozu stand there. They do look cool, but they are a little pricey.
Yeah, mine was great. Mine were meant to cost 160 quid. And I think I went to MCM Birmingham last year, and they had an offer down to 90. But literally 3 weeks before at MCM London, they gave me a £10 off voucher in my hand, so I got them for 80, which I was happy to pay because I was going to probably get them as a present anyway. But I was able to get the shoes earlier and at a much better price. I could not have imagined paying that full price for them. It's crazy what people pay to put on their feet.
Yeah. Indeed. And again, the next bit of news, again, George, I'll let you take the lead on this one because I've only seen this one this evening, which is the Ireland 3-day celebration.
Yeah, so Ireland, the country, they're doing a 3-day Star Wars, not a Star Wars celebration. Well, that is a very different Star Wars celebration. Basically, on May the 4th weekend, it's a bank holiday weekend here in the UK. They're basically doing a 3-day Star Wars a Star Wars festival. I think that's what they're calling it, from May the 4th to 7th. And basically, it's going to celebrate the fact that Star Wars went over to Ireland to film Episode 7 and quite a bit of 8. It's going to be, obviously, Skellig's there, and I think they shot in a couple of, not towns, but some of the stuff nearby, like the Ring of Kerry, I think they shot there. Anyway, you can find all this stuff online. They're just doing like a little 3-day event festival in these towns that were by film, and so Port McGee's the big one. It's actually tiny. It's like a street, but that's where I stayed. That is the place you go to get to Skellig, and they're doing a big thing. I think they're going to be screening the films. In all honesty, I couldn't imagine them doing anything else other than screening the films. But it was on the news, but it's not sad. But I mean, they had Mark Hamill fly over for the St. Patrick's Day this year, which was a really cool thing that was like the main part of Ireland. So it'll be interesting that if Lucasfilm do turn up with them, but tourism's obviously high over there. At the end of the day, I can't blame them. It's going to go down in history now. Skellig's legacy, don't get me wrong, it was a lovely place. Skellig's legacy is now Star Wars. What it was before is the old school monk stuff. That's all going to disappear through the window now. People are going to go there for Star Wars. I love it. That's the only reason I won't lie.
Indeed, we will have a piece of it.
Yes, stolen from the rocks of Luke's huts.
We do.
But it's. I mean, at the end of the day, can you blame them for having a bit of fun with it? Like, I mean, I don't think they're going to go back in episode 9. If they do, then fair play. That'll be kept quiet. But they've had their time. Come to Warwick.
Yeah, I mean, Skellig is the main focus, and I'm guessing they're going to try and get as many people there over that weekend as they can. Obviously, the weather, it's a bank holiday weekend in the UK. It is not going to be sunny. So whether that goes ahead, but I mean, that's going to be obviously the main reason. I would love to visit, and literally that's the reason I want to go to Skellig, is literally it's a Star Wars area that is set from Star Wars as far as I'm concerned, no matter what is there or what natural beauty it's being housed for. But it's now where Luke Skywalker lived with those funny nurse things.
And porgs. Many porgs.
The porgs are the puffins. That's something that everyone knows now. But so that's happening in Ireland. I guess moving on from that, we've got because we're still on the news. That's how long today's been. It's already 9 o'clock. The Hasbro CEO admitted in a conference call last couple of weeks that, in the words of Arrested Development, we just made a huge mistake, and that's the Last Jedi merchandise coming out in September. Sales were very much down compared to Episode 7. They basically said that they had a peak on Force Friday in that weekend. Then they completely dipped and then picked up again at Christmas. They basically said the demand wasn't there. We released it way too early. We've now missed out. Our not budget's gone down, but our shares prices fallen 10% and whatnot. And they're all blaming Star Wars. And at the end of the day, I don't blame Star Wars, but it could have benefited maybe late October, November time, like what Solo's doing. No one would have wanted Solo merch 3 months early, would they?
No.
But it's. I think
at that point we had Last Jedi in full swing.
Also true. I just think that with this, it's just a cheap way of them covering their losses. Like with Hasbro, if people look into the sort of history of Hasbro and stuff, the way they package their cases and like do stuff, they're their own enemy. So famously, I think the Black Series line, they'll release a wave of 6. They did this with the anniversary ones last year, which me and David did halves on. You got 2 Lukes, 2 Leias, 2 Obi-Wans, 1 R2, 1 Han Solo. Immediately, it creates a third market that Hasbro get no money from. Whereas if Hasbro were to do it properly, they'd have the demand there from the get-go. So Hasbro can blame themselves on a couple of things. But it was probably Hasbro pushing for early release more so than Disney, I would say.
Oh, definitely. Get the toys out, get the toys out, get the toys out, get the toys out. Oh, people don't want the toys yet. Oh, all right then.
They would have said, let's get the mental fans in now, then we'll get the Christmas out of Christmas.
Yeah.
And I mean, Episode 7, I mean, obviously I'm in stats, whatever the word is. I'm no sort of sales guy, but you can imagine that was kind of weaving in and out of December, but rapidly rising.
Yeah.
But now that the series is, I mean, we've know all the characters now. We know BB-8.
Now it's all of this. Yes.
Yeah, it's established. So who wanted? Did anyone really go out and buy the black BB-8 Sphero? Did you need to market him 3 months early? No. Did you need to market a Sphero R2D2 that's half price everywhere now? No. There's a couple of things which I think they're their own worst enemy, and just blaming Star Wars is an easy way out. I've seen Justice League merchandise. Good luck moving that, Hasbro.
Excellent.
However, Pardon me. From news that we all kind of figured out to news that is very exciting for me, Galactic Empire, the heavy metal cover band of Star Wars, releasing their new album on May the 4th. I can't wait for that. But I mean, there is no bones about it. I'm a metal fan, have been for many years, will be for the rest of my life. And when I first heard Galactic Empire, got the album immediately, loved them to bits, missed them seeing them. I know, Dave, you have, a few friends of mine have, I'm jealous. However, new album comes out on May the 4th. They released one track, which is the Shuriza for X-Wings from episode 7. That's come out already. And the rest of the album will be released on May the 4th.
I will give you this. Galactic Empire, their album will probably be great, and you will enjoy listening to it. This is a band that you have to see live to get the full experience. It has no... I've got their first album, and to listen to it, it's some of the tracks are great. Their Duel of the Fates is epic.
It is. It really
are a live band, and if you see this group, you have to see them live. They are quite... I went thinking this is going to be a comedy sort of thing, and it is quite funny to have bits between the songs, but I thought it was just going to be a comedy outing. I had a great night. They are absolutely on form. They are such a good, like, well-knit, tight group to go through the Star Wars repertoire. Playing John Williams music through heavy rock was a marvelous sight. All I'd recommend, if you get a chance, they tour, but sometimes they don't go everywhere. If you get a chance to go see these guys, go check them out. You'll have a great night. They are excellent.
Indeed. No, I will hopefully catch them next time they're here. But I think last time, sadly. But we must move on to the next bit. Didn't actually get a chance to watch this today. I know you did, George, which was the test footage from the Galaxy's Edge Millennium Falcon.
I didn't actually get to watch it. I had a mad binge. I think it was Dave that sent it to me.
I was at work. My friend at work, Steve, he has like a Disney site where he just looks at Disney news for the parks, and he just sent me a link today that there is if I just pull up the... Sorry, I'm just going to pull up the quote then out. Sorry. I know this is wasting a bit of time here, and I'll just mumble on while I get it. Here we go. So, yeah, there was a show today. Here we go. Sorry about this, guys. Anyway, so what it is basically is the Galaxy's Edge is obviously being built. There is Millennium Falcon is going to be the full-size 1-to-1 scale Millennium Falcon. And it's actually going to be a ride as well. It's going to be an actual experience that you go into there. You actually get into the cockpit and you will fly through certain things. Now, there's been a GPU technology conference going on, and this footage came out from there. Someone's obviously filmed one of the panels, and basically what they were showing is some test footage of what they're going to do with the Falcon. It was basically just it wasn't a great render. It did look a bit cartoony, didn't look fully rendered to realistic, but it gave you an idea of what they're going to be able to see. And it's a 2-minute video. It's on our Facebook page. You want to have a look at that, and it just shows you where they come out of it, so you can actually see the shape of the Millennium Falcon's bridge, the cockpit window, and so you can get your full sort of view of what you're seeing. It's hard to describe. It's just the Millennium Falcon flying through a hangar, knocking over some AT-ATs and some TIE fighters. It's not very long, but it does give you an idea of the kind of thing they're going for, these big virtual experience rides. And it's just nice to know that this stuff's getting worked on now as Galaxy Edge is closer.
Indeed, and we, of course, are madly awaiting Star Wars Celebration next year, which will most likely be at Galaxy's Edge.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
It's going to happen. It's going to be Anaheim. It's going to then link to maybe a soft opening. Who knows? But yeah. I'm convinced it will be in the next 3 months we get an announcement of some kind. Maybe even May the 4th if they were really going to go for it. But with something like Celebration, you can't just put the tickets on sale like 6 months before. It's got to be done early in advance. And the early in advance, the easier it will be to know if I can afford to go or not.
Yeah.
That's the more important thing.
That's what we need to know so we can save up, damn it.
This is the thing. And this is what, I mean, when they did the Orlando one, they announced that 3 months before the London one had actually happened.
Yeah.
And that gave people a good year to get tickets, get flights, and whatnot. Whereas now, if it's going to be next April, we're looking at around about a year now. But if it's next January, which it wouldn't be anyway, they're in a very risky place. But I think they're just waiting for some confirmation now on the building status of the theme park.
I think that's very much it. I think they want that park to be at least 98% complete. Maybe not fully, like you say, a soft open if the fans got to go in at one point. Maybe even last day where, right, it's going to be open for you fans. You go along, you can actually have a look around the place. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be linked, like you say, and I think they are waiting to get a building update of when that's going to have be as close to opening as possible. As you see it now, it's still a lot of steelwork frames when you see any footage of it at the moment. And yeah, it's gonna have to be there, Link. And if it doesn't, it's going to be Anaheim, and maybe they'll get an early look around the actual Galaxy's Edge area of what they go into and what they'll expect. But I'd expect that announcement fairly soon.
Yeah, I think there'll probably be a soft launch for the hardcore fans, and then major launch afterwards. But we're yet to see exactly what's going to go on. But that's what we can most likely theorize. And I think that just about wraps up the news finally.
Yes.
We've spent just about an hour on the news alone.
The longest news segment we've ever done.
Most likely, yes.
Now there's no Star Wars this week. It's been very quiet recently.
The only Star Wars that is this week is that there is a excerpt for Last Shot, the new Lando and Han novel on StarWars.com now. It's got released today. That's the only new update for that, really. Everything else is in full swing with the comics. There's no new news there, both from IDW and Marvel. And apart from Last Shot, there's no new novels coming out at the moment. So yeah, that's about it for Star Wars. It really is a quiet period for
that. Meanwhile, Toy Shelf is going absolutely berserk. So, like the Vintage Collection Wave 1 is officially out on Friday, but it's actually out now for those of you get off the right site. I guess getting rid of that. The big news is Jabba's Sail Badge.
Yeah.
Boy, were we wrong.
It was backed by 9,000 people. Now, I don't think this is right, you know. It needed, 1,000 to go with 3 days.
Yeah.
And they needed 5K, right? And then they've magically got 9K total. I reckon they always had the 9K. I reckon they always had a guarantee of something. Because they did that weird bundle where they made it available in Europe, but you had to get it through a certain retailer and pay 580 quid up front, didn't they? There was some very weird thing that happened there, but it just magically got... If they've been struggling for 2 months to get 4.5K, and then they get another 4.5K within a week after... I think they...
Phil and I mocked on the podcast you and I. We absolutely mocked that this was never going to reach its target and didn't see the point of it. And then suddenly, from it being, I think it was even got to about a day away, and it still looked like it was never going to hit the target. Then suddenly, ta-da! We got an extra 1,500 bids. It's all in. It's all done. Well done. It seemed crazy that happened.
Give us your money now. Give us the $500 plus tax. Go on, do it. Yeah. Do it.
Yeah, we made it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the Hasbro CEO just like buying copies, like to make sure they get that extra pay slip.
Yeah. It just seems crazy that they hit 9,000. I still don't get it. I still don't get why that has such a big drawn appeal. I know there are collectors out there who want everything and they want big display pieces. I don't get this one at all. Still, I just don't.
I mean, I know it's the vintage collection, but there's nothing vintage about Jabba's Sail Badge. You know, it's not really something people have memories of as such. Like, it was like, here, have a vintage TIE fighter or a TIE Interceptor. You'd be like, I dig that. The assault tank troop they're doing, Rogue One, I dig that. Jabba's Sail Badge, 500 plus tanks.
If they'd done a really big, really cool ATTE or turbo tank or something like that, that would have been wicked. But Jabba's Sail Badge, no.
Exactly. I mean, Lego haven't even rebooted that set yet. That shows how much they care.
Yeah, exactly. Although speaking of Lego, we have our Lego announcement.
So the latest Ultimate Collect Series Lego has been announced. This time it's going to be the Y-Wing. It's going to be on sale on May the 4th for $195 with just under 2,000 pieces. My honest opinions, don't get me wrong, it looks nice. They released a Y-Wing a year ago for, I think, 60 quid. And I believe that had between 800 and 1,000 pieces. And you know what? They look the exact same. I'm not going to lie. This doesn't strike me as... Now we've had the Falcon.
Collector series.
Yes. Yeah. Now we've had the Falcon out. Okay, the Lego is peaked. You won't get that again. But now with the Collector series, you think... If you look at how great that Falcon is, if you look at... I mean, I really didn't like the Snow Speeder looking at that. But the Slave 1 looks beautiful when you saw that Collector series. And some of the sets they warrant the tag. I just feel like, we need another ship. We can't really do another one yet, so we'll just chuck this one in.
Apparently, according to Robin, it's actually out already in some places.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't know if Lego VIP's got it early again, but I don't imagine people. I mean, would you want to drop 200 quid on this, knowing that you could?
No, I wouldn't. Like, it's exactly like you said. This does not come across to me as an Ultimate Collector series.
No, I reckon there will be UCS Falcon, but for the solo Falcon coming out. We know that they're already released images of the Lego solo Falcon anyway.
Lando's Falcon, you mean?
Yeah, Lando's Falcon, but there will be a Kessel Run Lando's Falcon, whatever it is. There will be a UCS version of that down the line, I reckon.
I don't know. See, it's the problem is with the Falcon at 7,000 pieces. It's the biggest ever. They have to release a set they know everyone's gonna. I mean, you still can't get every time that Falcon comes out, it sells out again. I could not see them dropping a UCS on a spin-off film. I think they've put themselves in a position where the word peak is unfair, but they have basically peace. What else do you do in Star Wars that for 7,000 pieces?
Apparently, it was revealed by someone who found it in a Portuguese shop.
I just want the Lego Skellig, please. Now that would be a UCS worth paying for.
A big, massive model of Skellig would be awesome. And all you need is like green bits and grey bits. You'd be absolutely fine. You can get those everywhere.
The tiny little huts on top of it. This one Lego minifigure of Luke.
To be fair, all you need is a mass amount of brown bits, and you've got all the wrong.
Well played. But yeah, it's just, yeah, you're right. It's not an Ultimate Collector series for me. That is just a standard edition, a bit bigger Y-Wing than we've already released. It's not for me at all. I'll not be saying of rushing out. This certainly won't sell out when it comes out. There'll be no massive demand for this one.
I mean, the snow speeder is never sold out. No one really. No. That didn't look any good. That, I mean, there's the other thing that as well. It's just white pieces. Like,
you need some with a bit of interest. That Falcon set is just so beautiful.
Exactly. Although speaking of something big that is very expensive that no one wants, we might as well talk about this.
I would take this. Thank you very much. They have, not for £80,000 though. Sideshow have just announced the life-size 1-to-1 scale Death Trooper, only $8,000, and there are payment plans if you are really desperate. I thought this was hilarious. Then you can probably build your own or buy an Anavos one for probably like $5,000 less. This is like their Scam R2D2 one they've done. I know that they're great with their collectibles, but why would you honestly want $8,000 on that?
Yeah, it does seem absolutely nuts.
You can't even wear it.
You could probably buy a mannequin and a full Anovos set, and you'll pay less than that.
You buy 3 of them for that price.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. They bring out these massive pieces. I know they've done a life-size Vader as well. They had a video up of it on YouTube or the Facebook page, and that looks incredible as well. But the prices that they charge are just
astronomical,
unrealistic for a collector, for a essence figure that you could. All the things they release in this big scale, you could build yourself.
Yeah,
it's just that simple. Even the R2, yes, it would take you. If you're a very basic builder with a little bit of knowledge, you'll probably now get a 3D print of it and make the same one that Sideshow sell by building up the pieces of that. But I just think there's so much money for what they are, and as I say, the whole point is you can get these things way cheaper by sourcing the parts other places.
It's just making a mockery as usual, especially with Death Troop. With the color system is just black.
Yeah,
and
plastic. Like, you can probably get a couple of the Novos ones and change. It's that kind of simple. But we might as well move on from something that we're not too excited for to something that we are relatively excited for, and that's EA finally going to be doing an update for Battlefront 2. Again, George, I'll let you kind of handle this.
Yeah, so they did the big system update a couple of weeks ago to change the progression. And, I mean, because I'd already pretty much got everything I needed, it made no impact to me. It would if you're starting the game over, so I wouldn't know how that's turned out. But basically, they're still outraged. They haven't announced it. The DLC is going to be free this year. They've still not announced anything. And the game has been out 5 months now. Basically one of the developers, the head of the community, has come out and said that there's going to be a big update in April, and he goes, I can only say that. I shouldn't have even said that. And you've got a lot of Star Wars fans getting very angry because they also now expect.
Pretty much stopped playing it because I'm waiting for the DLC.
Yeah, everyone stopped playing it, and so I think the best comment I saw was if this is going to be a solo skin, I am going to snap the disc in two. I don't know why. I mean, I know they have to revamp the entire game, but normally with DLC packages of games, you get 4 DLC packs every 3 months. In theory, they should be looking at their second one now. They haven't even announced a first one. I know that was because of the backlash and whatnot, but this game's been destroyed. And the next bit of news to me actually destroys Battlefront 2 further, which is that 6 classic Star Wars games are coming to Xbox on their backwards compatible.
Yes.
I don't know if it's free or if it's part of a monthly scheme, or I don't know how it works because I've got a PS. But Star Wars Battlefront the original, Battlefront 2 the original, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Starfighter, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and Republic Commando are all coming out for Xbox One on the Xbox
probably
Gold.
come by the Xbox Live system because I already have all these via Steam on my laptop. But they'll probably be by that Xbox Live system. However, yes, that's it. Yeah, as you said, it's going to destroy Battlefront 2 because, well, why not play the original Battlefront 2?
Yeah, it's I've got the Xbox myself, and you do get there's a few ways you can get it. You get games released you can buy through a store. I think you can get like Force Unleashed 1 and 2 for about £8. So it's not big money you're spending on these. For these games to come out, they'll come out. You'll just be able to buy them. Some of them they might even get offered because you get 3 free games a month on Xbox Live. Might even give you one of those for that game. But to release all these games, they'll probably only cost around about $6, if that. Especially the ones that were just basic Xbox games, like will probably cost less than $5.
But if you haven't played Jedi Academy, go play Jedi Academy because it's one of the best games they've made.
I'll be getting all these games as they come out. I really can't wait.
Indeed, and actually,
I've got them all on Steam, but hardly any are allowed to be played on Mac. So it was the Humble Bundle when they first ever did it.
I've got my laptop and love them all to bits.
It's good. It's just a shame that this does kill Battlefront 2, like the EA version, a little bit more. Because it is quite embarrassing for them now. They need to sort it quickly. And the thing is, now they've reached a stage where they drop one bit of DLC, it's just not enough. They need to do something insane to get the community back.
It needs to be a massive release. It can't just be like, well, he's a character. And like you say, if it's just, we've skinned over the Millennium Falcon, you now have the Kessel Run version, your fans are going to be absolutely incensed by that.
Definitely.
It really needs to be that. It needs to be more story modal. It needs to be something big.
It's going to be Clone Wars. It has to be Clone Wars. There's not enough on there.
It practically has to be Battlefront 3 for this to actually.
Also, it has to be the character customization.
That's they announced that, so that has to be on the next update regardless.
Yes.
But they need the proper stuff now. Especially if they are going to turn microtransactions back on.
Drop it with this update.
Oh yeah. That's what I think it will be. I think that's why they haven't announced it yet. Nothing says character customization like clones in the prequels, so they need to get on that ASAP.
For sure. And I think that actually finally wraps up tonight's show. It's been a long. We only done a canteen talk this evening, and we've already filled boats and then some.
Yeah, it's been a good show. A lot of news. We've probably had like a month's worth of news in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was all down to Solo.
Dave was like, here, we have a show. Like, cool, we've had no news in a month. This is scraping the bottom of the barrel. It's now here. Have all of our news. Chuck it all at you at once. And don't forget, we have a new film coming out soon. So, yes, it's...
I think the next 6 weeks is going to be... Well, no, kind of 5 weeks is out now around this point. I think the next 5 weeks is going to be insane. They're going to drop a lot of news. You got to think all your magazine issues and all them lot are going to be coming out in the next month as well. Our TV spots will start flying. Other stuff will start flying.
400 TV spots will be out soon, yeah.
And then it will happen. And so they will be here before we know it, and then it's the long 1.5-year gap.
Yes. But in that time, we'll have TV show announcements and other bits and pieces. So there'll be plenty to come. But yeah, I think it's about wraps up the season. I think there's anything else you want to add?
No, all done for tonight, sir. We are newsed out. And,
go watch The Last Jedi. Don't pre-order from Zavi.
No, pre-order from Zavi. You'll get it on time.
Get digital downloads. You can just get that when you want it.
You can get it even early if you really wish to.
Enjoy The Last Jedi again. Watch it and watch it. It's a much better movie the more you watch it and the more you take in.
Indeed. Well, yes, I think that's about it from us tonight. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you for all the new subscribers, comments, likes, everything. The usual jargon, but we love it all. And I think that's it for tonight. So yes, be one to the force. May the force always be with you. Good night.